You could try to argue that they're just businessmen who made their money by providing a service. Or you could argue that they are organized criminals who use murder, intimidation, and fear to control people into giving them money. If you want to know more about how this works, stay tuned. This is mafia. The mafia is an Italian word that means exactly what we think it means, meaning evil. But where did this word come from? How did it evolve into describing one of the most notorious gangs in history? The word comes from the ancient Greek word mania, which means madness. It was used by Greeks to describe frenzied cults, but later became used in Italian to mean evil or malicious. In the early 19th century, the term was first used to describe the Camorra, a Neapolitan gang. The Camorra was known for its vicious street fights against rival gangs and for intimidating people into paying them money. In order to maintain their dominance in certain areas, members of the gang would beat up shop owners and demand protection money. Otherwise, they threatened to burn down their stores and kill their families. In some cases, they even kidnapped children and forced them to join the gang. These gangs were so powerful that there was little the police or the government could do to stop them. So the word mafia became synonymous with these criminal organizations. But the name stuck, and it has been used to describe similar organizations ever since. The reason why is because, like the Camorra, they all share the same traits. They're secretive, violent, and most importantly, they use fear to get what they want. It's no wonder that people started calling them the mafia. But where does this obsession with fear come from? Where did it start, and how does it work? Welcome to my channel. Today, we'll be taking a deep look into the psychology of the mafia and exploring how they use fear to get what they want. There are many different theories out there about how the mafia originated, but most agree that it started in Italy. The theory goes that in the 19th century, two major changes occurred in Italy that created the perfect conditions for the mafia to flourish. The first was the unification of Italy in 1861, which led to a lot of social and political upheaval. The second was the introduction of new technologies, such as the telegraph and the railroad, which allowed information and goods to be transported quickly and easily. Together, these two factors created a society that was ripe for exploitation. There was a lot of confusion, and people were looking for someone to help them navigate this new world. Enter the mafia. They were able to take advantage of the chaos and make a lot of money off of the unsuspecting public. And once they got their foot in the door, it was easy to start using fear to keep people under their thumb. This is because human beings are naturally afraid of the unknown. The mafia knew how to use this to their advantage. They were able to create a sense of mystery around themselves that made people even more afraid of them. People didn't know what they were capable of, so they were more likely to listen to them out of fear. The mafia also used fear to control people in other ways. For example, they would often target people who were already afraid of the police. They would threaten to kill people if they didn't pay them off, and then they would go to the police if those people didn't cooperate. This way, the mafia was able to get people to do what they wanted without having to resort to violence. But if someone did try to resist them, they knew that they would not hesitate to use violence. It is important to note that the mafia is not just a bunch of mindless thugs. They are actually very smart and calculating people. They know how to pick people and situations to exploit, and they always have a plan in place before they make a move. They are also extremely patient and will wait as long as they need to in order to get what they want. One of the most important things that the mafia does is to build a strong network of informants. They need to know everything that is going on in the community, and they need to know it before anyone else. This allows them to stay one step ahead of the competition and to always be in a position of power. To build this network, they will use any means necessary, including bribery, blackmail, and threats. But once they have the information they need, they are able to use it to control people in a variety of ways. For example, they may use it to extort money from businesses, or they may use it to frame someone for a crime in order to get them arrested. In some cases, they may even use it to order hits on people who they see as enemies. No matter what their goal is, the mafia is always able to use information effectively, because they know how to use fear. Another way that the mafia uses fear to control people is by targeting their loved ones. This is a very effective way to get to someone, because it forces them to choose between their own safety and the safety of the people they care about. The mafia knows this, and they will often use it when they need to get someone to cooperate. For example, let's say the mafia wants to get someone to testify against their boss. They will go to that person's house and threaten to kill their family unless they agree to testify. In this situation, the person being threatened has no choice but to cooperate if they want their family to stay alive. This is just one example of how the mafia uses fear to control people. They are constantly coming up with new and creative ways to use fear to get what they want. Let's take a look at the movie Goodfellas as an example. In the film, the main character, Henry Hill, is a mobster who tells the story of his life in the mafia. We see firsthand how the mafia uses fear to control people. For example, in one scene, Henry and his friends are driving down the street when they see a man standing on the corner. They don't know who he is, but they don't need to. The man is clearly an enemy of the mafia, and they don't need to know anything more about him to know that he needs to be dealt with. Without hesitation, Henry pulls out his gun and shoots the man dead. This is just one of many examples of how the mafia uses fear to control people. Fear is the main tool that the mafia uses to maintain their power. By using fear, they are able to intimidate people into doing what they want. This is how they maintain control over their territory and how they protect their way of life. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you are being threatened by the mafia, it is important that you do not resist them. They are dangerous people who are not afraid to use violence. Your best chance of survival is to give in to their demands. I know this can be difficult, especially if you are a proud person who doesn't like to admit when they are beaten, but in this situation, it is always better to live and run than to die and regret it. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you are being threatened by the mafia, remember that the best option is to give in to their demands. Remember, it's just business for them. You can always try to fight back, but chances are you won't win. So please listen to me. Just give in to their demands and let them go. The next time you watch a movie about the mafia, pay attention to how much fear is used in the film. You'll be surprised at how often fear is used as a tool to control people. Movies are a great way to learn about different cultures and societies. And they're also a great way to learn about the psychology of different groups of people. So the next time you watch a movie about the mafia, pay attention to how much fear is used in the film. You'll be surprised at how often fear is used as a tool to control people. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time.